You have the floor now. Just make it put it on a slideshow, but you can go ahead now. That's
Okay.
it.
So is my slides okay?
Yeah, just put it on a slideshow so it can be big.
Okay. I think it's okay. Slideshow. Let me see. This way, right?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Oyebola, and I'm a product manager and a Scrum Master at Bincom Global. So this morning we'll be talking about the topic, the processes of building a digital product, right? So it's always been much ado about building digital products. So I've had people ask me, what is a digital product? Like, how is it different from a physical product, right? So this morning we'll be looking at how to what a digital product is and how to build one, a step-by-step process of building one. So, but first off, what is a digital product? So in simple terms, right, a digital product is one that exists in a digital form, right? So it's an entity that creates specific value for a group of people, that is the customers and the users, and also the organization that develops the digital product. For example, a website from where we get the useful information is a digital product. So that means when we go to Google and search for information, so what we have just done is we have used a digital product to solve our problem of trying to get information. So according to the deep definition we have here, it says a digital product is a software-enabled product or service that offers some form of utility to human beings. So a digital product is software-driven, is software-enabled. So in other words, all digital products from a mobile app to a website experience attempt to solve a problem rather, for a group of people trying to accomplish something. So when we think about Facebook, what problem does Facebook solve for us? It solves the problem of connecting with people. Before Facebook, before products like that, we're unable to connect with our friends from afar, except we use the telephone. And at that then, telephone was really expensive, and we can't even see them visually. We can't share pictures. But with the advent of Facebook, which is a digital product, we are able to exchange instant message, chats, share videos, share memes. At that time it wasn't even called memes, I don't know what it was called, and all of those things. So let us also explore into some digital products that are quite popular out there. So you think about Uber or Lyft or Bolt when you are trying to leave a particular place or your house. So you just go to your smartphone, you punch on this application, and boom, you have a taxi waiting for you, in the front of your house, right? So that is a digital product. You have just used a digital product. So we have gathered on this call today. We are using an application called Zoom. That is also an example of a digital product, right? So there are also marketing tools that we use, different tools that we use to carry out our activities every day. For instance, if you use if you're a marketer and there are tools that you use to power your marketing trade every day. So all of these things that you use, all of this software that we use as developers, as marketers, as product people, as project people, are digital products, right? So there's a question I'd like to ask, and I'll also answer it. So why does startup fail? There are different reasons why startups fail, right? But one of the essential reasons is because they do not build a product that the customers want. They don't build a product that the market wants. So that is where the concept of a product market fit comes in. So product market fit is simply building a product that customers want, right? Building a product that people want. So according to what we have here, it says product market fit describes a situation where a company's target customers are buying, where they are using and telling others about your products in large numbers, enough to sustain your product's growth and profitability. So that means that If you have a product and there is a market already, and you take your product to that market, and the market embrace your product, that means you have achieved a product market fit, right? But there is a process of achieving a product market fit, and it's through talking to your customers. Now, let us take an instance. You are trying to build a product for SMEs. Now, the question is, who should you be talking to? You obviously should be talking to SMEs business owners, right? You want to talk to them and understand what their pain points are, what their problems are, or the problems they are trying to solve. Now let's take another example. Now you're trying to, build a product for kids, like little babies. The question is, who should you be talking to? Absolutely, you should be talking to the kids' parents. You should be talking to their words, because they are the ones that will eventually buy this product. Now, I would like to make us understand the difference between a user and a customer here, because there's a difference between a user and a customer, and it could also be similar. Now, when you are talking to your users, have it in mind that your users are the actual user of your products, right? While your customers are the ones that brings out money to purchase your product. For instance, you build a product for a kid. Who is the user of that product? The kid. But who is the customer? The parents, because the kids don't have the purchasing ability to purchase your product. So when you are doing your product market fit, yes, it's the kids that needs the product. You can talk to the kid, hey, baby, what do you want? What would you like to have? And they will say, oh, I want this, I want that. But you should understand that there is also a stakeholder that you should be talking to, which is, the parent. So you really need to understand their users and test your hypothesis of them at every stage of your product development. So while you are trying to, create a product market fit and you're trying to do your customer discovery, there are things that you need to put, into consideration. And there are two things actually. So the first one is you need to understand why you as an entity, you as an organization, you as an individual is building this product, right? Why? What is the purpose behind this product? What are you trying to achieve? Is it to increase your revenue, right? Is it to increase your revenue, number one? Number two, is it an opportunity move? Is it that you have, signed a blue ocean market and no one is playing currently on this field, and you look and say, wow, this is an opportunity. Let me quickly go and grab this market. Let me be the first person in this market. Then thirdly, is it to compete, right? You can build products to compete with your competition. Okay, so there was a time in Nigeria where we don't have anything like mobile banking, right? Then at a point, a particular bank started it. Well, I don't know. I don't have the data of the bank that pioneered this, but a bank would have definitely pioneered it, and every other bank followed suit. So imagine a bank saying, for instance, Bank B saying that, okay, so everybody is doing mobile banking. I am not going to do mobile banking. We as a company is not going to do mobile banking. Imagine the state of that bank in 2022, right? So you really need to question reasons, why you want to build a product. And second one is you really need to understand your baseline. So when I say baseline, you want to understand that this product we are building, this particular product we are building, is our organization already existing in this market, right? Are we building this product to sell to an existing customers, right? Or is it a new space for us that we've not even existing before and we are just trying to, get into it, something we don't know, a kind of market we don't know anything about. So you really need to consider all of these things. And lastly, you also want to understand the resources that you have on ground before you start doing it. You want to understand the number of professionals, cross-functional professionals you have on ground before you start building this product. You want to, consider your financial resources. You want to have a budget for it, before you start building this product. So after you have considered all of these things, you want to sit down with at least 5 to 10 to 15 people. We call them the personal, your users, your potential users, and you want to engage them. You want to discuss with them to formulate your initial product hypothesis. So it's the information that you get from them that will enable you to, know what to build. So you need to really, really, talk to them. You need to speak with them. You need to understand what drives them. You need to understand what, they need. So you set up a one-on-one conversation. So I recommend a one-on-one conversation. So you might want to do maybe a qualitative or quantitative survey or research now by sending, what do we call this thing now? A form to them so they can fill. But you don't want to do that. You want to, sit down with them one-on-one, and so that you can understand their pain point. Because when you send out a survey in this situation, you could just understand their perceived pain point, but it's quite different from their real pain point if you really, have this honest conversation with them one-on-one. So you want to understand, when you are doing your customer discovery, who your customers are. Who are my customers, right? So what happens to them on a day-to-day? Like, what makes them happy? What do they wish they could spend more of their time on? Like, streamlining it with what you are trying to build, you understand? So who is responsible for your customers? Who financially supports them? And, what keeps them up at night? So when you understand all of these things, it helps you to, understand the kind of product that you will be bringing to the market, and also enables you to, get your product market fit, right? So the next one we're talking about is mapping our user journey. So we have here that a user journey is a visual story of a user's interaction with your product, right? It's a visual representation of your customer's experience. So the process of mapping their journey encourages and reminds you to consider the entire customer experience, their feelings, questions and need, why they interact with your product. It is used for understanding and addressing customer needs and pain points. What is the user thinking about, and what are they hoping to achieve? So breaking down the user journey into a step-by-step sequence, we put you in your customer's shoes, and this will help you in visualizing what your MVP will look like. So now this is an example of a user persona. So before I delve into this, so when you are mapping your user journey, there are three things you really need to consider. Number one, it's your user persona. Then number two is your desired outcome. Then the third one is the steps taken to, achieve this outcome. So now, if you can see my screen, this is a pictorial representation of what a user persona is here. So now, for instance, this is a user persona, and I have named my user persona Chioma Busayo Abubakar, one Nigeria, right? So now, then I want to, address some, some basic questions here. Access some basic information. Number one, geographical information, demographic information rather. Where does she stay? She stays in Lagos. What is her age? She's 23 years. What is her education? She's a degree holder. Her gender is female. Does she work? Yes. What is her income? She earns $24,000 per annum. Now, let's say Chioma Busayo Abubakar is a receptionist in a fashion organization, right? And now, what is our desired outcome? Don't forget, we talked about desired outcome. Our desired outcome is to transition, right, from being a receptionist to being a product designer or a project manager. So that's our user persona. So what is our desired outcome? So, for example, to look out for a tech academy that can help her become a product designer between 1 year. Remember, we said she's trying to transition from from a receptionist to a product designer. So now our desired outcome is to say, okay, so now I want to transition. What do I need to do? What do I need to achieve? So look for a tech academy to help me become a product designer within 1 year. So the third one is, what are the steps taken to achieve this desired outcome? So we need to identify steps that are of utmost importance for her to achieve her outcome. So let's say, look for a tech academy, register, meet with a mentor, or speak with a facilitator, get on board, start taking this thing. So you want to streamline this to the kind of product you are trying to create. So now, after we've gone through this process of mapping our user journey, we want to get our hands dirty a bit and create our MVP, which is known as the minimum viable product. So the MVP is the leanest version that you need to get your user to test if you are creating value for them. So MVP is the earliest version of your product to go live. It has sufficient features to attract early adopters, customers, and also to validate that the product idea in the product development. So also to validate the product idea in the product development life cycle. So basically, the MVP can make you to get feedback from your customers. So you don't invest much on your MVP. You want to your investment on your MVP is lean, because an MVP could succeed or fail. So if your MVP succeeds and you have created it, developed it with the least amount of money, bravo. That means you can proceed and build a more robust version of your product. But if the MVP fails, you know that, so this product is not viable. You want to put it aside and work on a different idea, right? So it says, this version of your product allows the team to collect maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least amount of effort, right? So you're able to generate a lot of feedback. You're able to generate a lot of, learnings about your customers, what they really want, and you have not spent a lot on the investment. So remember, when building the MVP, only the features that we create value to the users are developed, and everything else stays out. So now the concept of MVP says that just build features that matters, right? So you don't want to start, building, going back and forth and saying, oh, we need to, build some nice to have features, like we need to do one massive UI UX design, like it has to be beautiful. We need to put different features so that it can be fancy, because all of these features at the moment, they do not matter. It says everything else stays out. Only feature that will create value to the customers are developed, right? So when you are building your MVP, you also need to put into consideration success metrics. You really need to be able to measure, right, the success of your MVP, of your product, the success of failure actually of your product. So it says for a product to be viable, you need to measure success or failure, and the measurement needs to be factored into the product planning from the very beginning, right? So in other words, success metrics are quantifiable data points that is used to track and analyze to gauge your product success. So common success metrics for startups includes adoption rate. So you want to understand the percentage of new users to all users of a specific product or feature. So let's say you build your MVP and you've taken $50 and you've launched a marketing campaign, sponsored ad on Facebook. You really want to, look at your data backend and understand, okay, so the number of people that have signed up to your product. So you use it to measure success, like saying, okay, so because I'm launching a campaign, I need 100 people now to sign up, right? So if you're having between a 90 and 100, so you can say my product is successful. So now I think this product is ready to go into the market, right? So then there's another metric, it's called the user engagement rate. So this tracks how customers engage and interact with your brand through usage, right? Likes, comments, and sharing. So it's also a success metric. So for us in Bincom, that go and like, share, and post, we post our videos and stuff. I'm pretty sure someone is at the back end saying that. So how many shares did we have? How are we able to spread on the digital space? So that is you measuring success, your success with the user engagement metrics. Then there is churn rates. Churn rate is the percentage of customers who have discontinued with their subscription in a given period, right? So there can be this rush of your product at the very beginning, and before you know it, maybe you are having a 100 viewers, and all of a sudden you are having 80, 60 viewers on a daily, like on a regular. So some people are churning. These people are walking away from your product. So it's also a success metrics to measure how well your product is doing. So others are customers acquisition costs, CAC, average revenue per user, lifetime value of a customer. So then we move to different ways to build and test our MVP. So there are actually different ways to build and test our MVP. So building a product is always a process and not an event. Let us have that at the back of our mind. It's always a process. We keep on iterating. Yeah, so therefore you build MVP iterations. So when building your product, you must constantly test your ideas. It's super imperative that we test our ideas when we are building our product. We want to test it real time, test it with people to know that this product is actually viable. So now, one of the ways to build and test our MVP is the prototype. So I know we are prototype is actually very popular, but there's a word called prototype. So prototype is the most stripped down version of your product to validate interest from the market, right? So you are trying to answer just an essential question. If we build it, will they buy it? That is the job of the prototype. And in most cases, the prototype is just a landing page, very basic landing page that says, okay, maybe launching blah, 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 blah. And you can purchase this product without breaking a bank, get access. That is a prototype, right? So then we move to prototype. The prototype is a stripped down version. Now, remember we say prototype, more stripped down, but prototype, just a stripped down version of a product that is used for validation, but it has more details than the prototype. So once you have made validation that people will be interested in your product, you would create a prototype to test if what you are building meets customers' expectation, as well as to validate if its visibility and validate its visibility with developers, like if they can actually build a bigger version of it, right? So then we move to the MVP. We've talked about the MVP before. So we said the MVP is this crappy version of your product, but it has more details than the prototype. So an MVP needs to create enough value that people will pay to use it. Yes. So that means your MVP can start creating, can start making money, right? Your MVP can start making money, right? So now we are almost getting to the end of the class. So we move to the tools to create our MVP. You see, it said that when we are building new product from scratch, it's our job to discover what the customer really needs and not just what they tell us. So with visuals, people can understand concepts more accurately. So this is where the concept of the likes of Sketch, wireframes, mockups, and prototype comes in, right? So let us quickly, go through this. Then, so what is a sketch? A sketch is a freehand drawing in a piece of paper. Yes. So you just take a pen and paper and you sketch, right? So you've gotten your sketch. The goal of sketch is to illustrate your concept accurately and quickly communicate your ideas to your customers and your team during the initial stage. Nothing else matters. You are just communicating your ideas to the customers and the team. So you are not even making money at this moment, right? So remember we say you can use pen and paper to sketch, but there are also digital tools such as Balsamic that you can use for sketching. So the next is Wireframe. So Wireframe is a ugly black and white skeleton designed for mobile app or website, right? Wireframes are very useful in the early stage of product development to think through the layout of every pager screen and interactions between different screens. And of course, to communicate more precisely with other stakeholders like developers, designers, and customers. So let us have it in mind that when we are trying to create a mobile app or we are trying to create a website, so these are processes. We can start with a sketch or with a wireframe. Some people want to go through all the process. So these are tools to start building your MVP, right? So some people will start with wireframe directly. So some people will start with sketch. So to build a wireframe, we have tools like papers. You can also use pen and papers. You can use Figma. I'm pretty sure the product designers are really familiar with this. You can use InVision. These are tools and Balsamic. So you can use all of these guys to design a wireframe. So we have the prototype. Prototype is an introductory version of the wireframe. It's an ugly working model of your app or website that you can use to test if the product will meet customer expectation and to know if developers are saying the product is visible to build. And lastly, we have the mockup, the beautiful, colorful, and polished version of the wireframe. The designer will take the wireframe, put thoughts into the color for a more delighted customer experience, and give you a mockup. You can use the mockup to get customer feedback, use it for sales demo before having the actual sales product. And lastly, you need to run usability tests on your product. So I know we are out of time, so let me just quickly read through this. Once the product has a prototype, mockup, or MVP built, the next step is to run usability test. Usability testing and user testing and usability testing are not the same. User testing, do user needs my app? Usability testing, can user use my app? Usability testing is when you make prototypes or mock-up and tell people to try using the app. Then you can observe and pay attention to where they get blocks using the app. You fix this and take this back for them to use. The goal is to ensure that users get to the point where they can easily use your product to solve their particular problem without experiencing any glitch. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to present. The floor is open for question.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Yeah. What you know to do best. I'll be taking one or two, just one question because of our time. So,
I have a question.
Okay, thank you.
Nuruddin, don't come for me now.
Joseph, thank you for this. Like, he actually took us through all product development within 30 minutes. I must say you did a very wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
So my question is this, like I've read somewhere, like in a situation whereby MVP is more like it's not necessarily have to be like building like it's a minimal viable product. You understand? Like
Absolutely.
I've read somewhere that it's not necessary that it has to be an app. Let's say, for example, now I want to build products, it can be a mobile app, but not necessarily that my MVP should be like a minimal app. You understand?
Yes.
So a solution like a Dropbox, Dropbox MVP was not an app. You understand? Was not a maybe app or web app. What they did is that they did like how can I call, like it's more like a video, like the whole video explain everything what the Dropbox is going to do, and that is where they were able to get investors and video products. So and then the second question I want to, okay, that is the first thing I mentioned, so we make you want to say something about it. Then the second thing I want to say is that, let's say, for example, whereby you want to build a product that something like that is not in the market. You understand? If I want to build a product that maybe people are that something like that in the market, I can run a market analysis, whereby I can compare one product to another product and some other things. You understand? Before even going forward and have my customer interview and some other things. So in a situation like that, what do you advise me to do?
So your first observation is absolutely correct. You do not have to build a product like a mobile app or website to launch an MVP, right? So you can use tools, Google Form. You can use Google Form to build your MVP. You can use email. It's just testing to know if people are going to buy your product. But of course, we cannot cover all of those things in just this 30 to 45 minutes. So that is why that part was obviously skipped. Thank you for the observation. Then the second one, you said if you want to build a product that is not in existence, right?
Yes. And I find it difficult to run my market analysis, have a complete market analysis, maybe, for example, compare one product to another product. So in that way, like, what am I going to do? Should I just move ahead and just do my customer interview? So I have to think of alternative. I don't know. What do you think I can do?
So in the real sense, you really, really need to look through to know if this product is not in existence. That is one, because virtually we have most things built already. somewhere. You really need to do a thorough research to know if you don't have a similar product. Then second one is this: if you have think about a problem and you think, yes, there should be a solution to it, you want to talk to people, you know the concept of this problem. So you want to look out for people that you think will have similar issues, we have similar problems they are trying to solve, right? You put out questions and ask them. So when you ask them and someone is saying, oh yes, I think one time, so it start giving you a validation that this product can be a reality, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
At this point, I would like to bring it to a close. Yeah. Thank everyone for joining us today. Till we meet again tomorrow. Have a lovely working day. Thank you, Joseph. Well done.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.